Hey guys, this is Andrew Emmons from the Toss Up, WNA's official sports radio show. Make sure to check us out on Thursdays from 3:30 to 5 and Saturdays from 3 to 4. Tweet us, call in, whatever you like, we'll talk about it. And be sure to check out our new segments this semester, Bets with Brendan, Hockey with Nate, and MLB Minute with David, and of course, Fantasy with Andrew. This all happens on the Toss Up, WNA's official sports radio show. Good afternoon, Niagara University. Welcome to WNA's official sports radio show, The Toss Up. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew Emmons, along with my other co-host.
I'm David Yarger. How you guys doing today?
And then we got a couple guest hosts, guest speakers in the house today. We got our, they come back for more every week. We got Mr. Brendan Kelly. Yeah, how you doing, Brendan?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. And we got Mr. Hockey over here. How you doing, Nate?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, bud?
I'm just living the dream. You know how it is. All right, so this week we're doing a kind of a different little broadcast. We're trying to change the layout each week, mix it up a little bit. We're going to go right to it. One of the new segments we've been starting the last couple weeks is our toss-up segment. And each of us pick a headline for the week that brought, some interesting things to our attention or to, around the whole world in some sort of sport. Today we're going to start. David, let's start with you. I think you've got some Cleveland Browns stuff to tell us about.
Yeah, might not sound like big news, but you know what? This is just bugging me. It's just the Browns are being the Browns. It's, you got Josh McCown with a sore shoulder. He's missed some practice this week. He actually didn't practice today. But Mike Pettin, head coach, says if he's capable, he will start no matter what. Then you got Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel's, getting starters reps because McCown is hurt. Mm-hmm. But he's got the domestic violence interview with the NFL, the whole scandal thing upon him. Suspension is unlikely, I've read. But, it's always possible.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there, okay, if McCown can't play and Manziel's suspended, what are the Browns going to do? Well, look no further than Austin Davis, the third stringer. The third stringer, this guy got a 2-year, $4 million contract extension as a third stringer. This guy went 3-5 as a starter in St. Louis. What is going on in Cleveland?
I don't know, to be honest. It's kind of the same way with my toss-up for the week. It's about Joseph Randle. Now, you look at the Cowboys' offense, their running game, last year, you think DeMarco Murray, he was the big name. Mm-hmm. The offensive line was great. This year, Joseph Randle comes out. He starts, starts doing good things, for them and everything. And then you got, of course, Darren McFadden. But it's been Randle the last few weeks. But this thing, it was kind of interesting. I saw Randle met with NFL investigators this past summer, and again this past week, I guess, he violated the league's personal conduct policy. Police received a call about a domestic violence with a weapon with Randle and the mother of his son a while back. I believe it was like January, February. And now they're talking about how he might be suspended for, many games. They said it's clear he's probably going to get fined, and then
he's done in Dallas, honestly.
I know. I mean, it's like
Darren McFadden.
He's good. He had a great game
when
too.
McFadden is good, he is one of the best. He's got some top speed. He's always had that health problem that's always put him on the sidelines.
So
Dallas. At least they get Des Bryant back this week, possibly.
Possibly, yeah. I know they're talking about it. Brendan, what you got for a headline?
I have Temple Notre Dame.
Okay.
I picked this because primetime, 8 p.m. on ABC. It's the only ranked matchup this weekend in college football with serious New Year's Bowl implications. College game day is coming there for the first time. Temple, an up-and-coming team versus, I hate to say it, but the almighty Notre Dame. Notre Dame struggles away even though they get a strong showing of fans on the road. The game actually decides which team is legitimate and which team is going to go to one of those New Year Bowl games.
Okay, awesome. That's good. All right. And we got Mr. Nate Kinzer over there.
I'm going to follow up Brendan with a little bit of college football. Newest NFL mock draft came out in the last few days. Kind of odd to see. The newest predictions show that out of the top 10 players picked in the first round, 7 will be defensive players.
Wow.
Not necessarily something that you see or really hear about. It's obviously more the offensive side of the ball that gets the nod as far as quarterbacks, receivers. But the projected top 5 looks like this. Joey Bosa, defensive lineman from Ohio State, going number 1 overall. Jalen Ramsey, cornerback from Florida State, going number 2. Robert Kimdichie. Thank you. I appreciate that. Defensive lineman, Ole Miss. Christian Hackenberg, quarterback, Penn State, going 4. And
Overall?
yeah,
Wow.
fourth. I don't agree. I don't. No.
Wow.
I know. I was
Connor
shocked
Cook.
too. And then Ronnie Staley, offensive tackle, Notre Dame, going fifth. And then out of 31 picks, not 32 because New England forfeited theirs
No, they didn't
because
do
of Deflategate. 20 are projected to be used on defensive players. So an overwhelming amount of defensive players will more than likely go in the first round of the NFL draft.
All right, let's move on to the NFL for the week. So instead of going over every game of the week and going over highlights and stuff, we're going to actually give you our game of the week from the past week, and then we're going to give you our game of the week for the upcoming week.
The game last week,
Yeah, past game.
Texans-Dolphins.
Good pick.
Dan Campbell, second game as a head coach. Tannehill comes out setting an NFL record, 25 straight completions.
You think he's going to be the next head coach for the Dolphins?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, he was a product of Bill Parcells, played
Yep.
there in Dallas, and he suggested Parcells has all of those, the Big Tuna has all those connections in Miami.
And hey, if Miami's going to win under him, then
Right, why not?
Yeah.
They don't want to take another chance on someone like Philbin, but they pulled out a 44-26 victory thanks to a couple of garbage touchdowns, and Houston's favored. But that's not really the headline I'm looking for, even though it's pretty big. But how about Hoyer? They couldn't pull the plug on him because of Ryan Mallett. He missed their flight, the team flight, and he got cut.
Cut, yeah. I think there was more to it.
You see he started like 1 for 12.
Yeah, well, he has. Well, Hoyer, yeah, I don't think he's a solid
so
quarterback.
hit or miss. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you can't really be a starting quarterback in the league. That's more of like a backup. He's more of like a Chad Henne. And then I really don't like Ryan Mallett. I never really have, even though he has all the potential in the world. When he was at Arkansas, the starting quarterback, he was supposedly a first-round guaranteed draft pick, and he had a bunch of character issues.
All right, good pick. David, you want to go next? Or you want me to go?
I'll go. I picked, and it really, on paper, didn't look like a good game, but saying Redskins versus Buccaneers.
Okay.
So you got, they're down 24-0, the Redskins. You know, Jameis Winston had 2 touchdowns and everything. Kirk Cousins leads the comeback and ends up going 33 of 40, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns. He even carried one in. He had 15 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. And then who's ever going to forget the infamous "You Like That" vine from Kirk Cousins?
I love that.
Best.
It's a beautiful,
there's T-shirts
beautiful
now.
vine.
Hey, never know. Maybe your boy Kirk Cousins is starting up something in Washington. What do you got, Nate?
All right, what do I have? I have Cowboys at Giants. It wasn't necessarily a very I don't want to say it wasn't competitive because obviously it wasn't a blowout. It was a boring game for the most part, except for a few very key plays. ERC, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie had 2 picks, 1 for a pick 6. Like I said, not a fantastic game, but a game of big plays.
All right, my pick. Now, I wasn't going to pick these to begin with, but I noticed no one else picked these when we were going over our script for the week. So I actually, I'm going to go with, number 1 defense against the number 1 offense for the week. The Jets at the Patriots. I give them a lot of credit. I actually give the Jets a lot of credit, too. I'm not a big Jets fan, as you guys know, but the Jets came out there. Ryan Fitzpatrick put on a clinic, I have to say. I thought they did very good. It was surprising, that the Patriots shut down the run game as well as they did, limited. And it was funny to see Patriots, the Jets shut down their run game really fast, but Brady led their team in rushing for the first time ever with 15 yards on like 3 carries, and he got a touchdown. I know, wasn't that hilarious though? But then Brady went 34 for 54, 355 in yards, 2 touchdown throwing, 1 rushing. When it comes down to the fourth quarter, you can't beat them. All right, so what do we got for the games of the week coming up this week? I'm going to start it off with, let's go Brendan first. What do you got, Brendan, for the game of the week coming up this week?
Jets Raiders, because that's gonna. I know. I'm just gonna come out and say the Jets aren't gonna win the division. The Patriots are. So and same with the Raiders. The Broncos are gonna win the AFC West. So this has again serious playoff implications for at least one of the wild card positions.
Yeah, I give the Raiders a lot of credit. People don't realize, but they're second in the AFC West, I believe, right behind the Broncos, which, the Broncos,
Chargers aren't producing this
Yeah, the
year.
Chargers aren't either. They're putting up a lot. I mean, Philip Rivers is on to a record-setting season right now, but still, the Raiders are still in the game, which is kind of ironic, I think. So that's good pick. Nate, what do you have for the game of the week coming up?
I have Packers and Broncos.
Definitely.
And Broncos.
Six-
That'll be a
six
great
and oh.
game.
Yeah, like he said, both 6-0 and two very big name quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning. By the numbers, Packers are better on the offensive side of the ball for sure.
Definitely.
More total yards per game, more rush yards per game. I think Packers average 27 or 28 points a game. Broncos only average 22 or 23.
Something I find interesting about this game. I was talking to one of my classmates earlier. He was up in the air about starting James Jones against the Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's scored almost every week except one so far. Broncos defense has only given up 5 receiving touchdowns. I think he has 5 or 6 right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's a questionable. It's a toss up. It's literally it's a toss up. I was looking at it. It was probably one of the bigger, you know, start 'em or sit 'em situations.
No, I totally agree with you. I think that's a good point. Yeah. You want to do yours first, David?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to go no stats here, just some hard-nosed AFC North football. We got the Bengals at the Steelers. Bengals are coming in undefeated. Steelers have Big Ben coming back. I'm looking for him and Antonio Brown possibly to get reconnected, you know, dial up the offense a little bit. You know, they've been going through Michael Vick and now Landry Jones last week. It's at Heinz Field, so you never know. Am I expecting the Steelers to give them the Bengals their first loss? Possibly. I'm going to give it another week for the Steelers, maybe just so Big Ben can get reaccommodated to the offense.
Yep.
But nevertheless, this should be a very good old-style AFC North football game.
All right, so this week for me, I got to go Patriots again, but it's a great game tonight. I mean, come
big
on.
surprise.
I mean, I wasn't going to, but, you know, tonight you can't put it past it. Thursday Night Football, Dolphins at Foxborough, Gillette Stadium against the Patriots. You know, Dolphins coming off a big win, you know, and you got to give them credit. I think the Dolphins-Pats is almost going to be like the Packers-Broncos game, Nate, as you were talking about, because it's basically, you know, the Dolphins offense going against the Patriot defense. Because, you know, the Patriots offense is great. You know, the
They're
Dolphins...
going to put up points. Yeah.
They are going to put up points, and the Dolphins defense has been playing great, too. You know, you got Cameron Wake, you got Brent Grimes, you got Ndamukong Suh. And he's been, you know, quiet, kind of, sort of, not as, you know, as explosive. I know when we first saw that big contract deal, we were like, that's the most outrageous thing we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. I called it Albert Hainsworth-like.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, it was funny. But it'll be interesting to see if he can get to Tom Brady, and I think that's going to be the big thing, is if they can get to Brady, then it's going to be a different game.
I think they're going to kill the Dolphins. That's just
your bold prediction.
It's in New
It's
England.
not even bold. You just think it's going to happen? Okay.
I just think they're going to destroy Miami.
All right, let's move on to fantasy. So I gave everyone 2 positions. Now they didn't add up, so I added another running back. So it was 2 running backs. So 1 QB, 2 running backs, a wide receiver, tight end, flex, kicker, and defense. I was going to give Nate, actually, QB and running back, but I figured he'd pick Roethlisberger, so I absolutely said no. No, I'm just kidding with you. All right,
Like you would pick Tom Brady.
I did pick Tom Brady, but all right. So let's start at the top, work our way down. I'll start first. So quarterback this week, you got to start Brady. I mean, if you're not starting Brady, I have Phillip Rivers on the back. He's on for a record-setting year on track. I believe they said 5,600 yards is what he's on track for, which is NFL
That's kind
record.
of a lot.
That's a lot. And then at running back, I got to pick Todd Gurley. I can't say enough about him. I mean, I think
he's projected the number 1 running back
this week. Yeah, and I think if you can get him, if you can trade, I mean, he's worth a couple, you know, high-end players to trade for him. I mean, he's worth it. But my sleeper for the week, it's going to be Marvin Jones. He's a wide receiver for the Bengals, not owned by a lot in fantasy. And, you know, the Steelers are going to be covering A.J. Green like it's their job. David, what do you got?
All right, at my running back position, I'm going to go with Chris Johnson,
Good
the
pick.
Arizona Cardinals,
CJ
facing Cleveland.
Yeah.
Worst rush defense in the league. And then wide receiver. Might surprise some people here. I'm going to go Eric Decker.
Okay.
Eric Decker's facing Oakland D, the Oakland D that is last in receiving yards per game. Give up a lot of yards. And also he gets a lot of targets from Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic, that's
The beard. So
Okay.
definitely Eric Decker is wide receiver. And then my sleeper, you got to get Alfred Blue in your lineup. He's taking over for Aaron Foster for the rest of the year. And against Tennessee, who does not have a good run defense, I would definitely give him a start. Might catch some passes out of the backfield from Hoyer, and I look to see Houston establish the run game early.
Okay, good pick. All right, now we got Brendan. Brendan, what do you got for this week? You got, what, tight end and flex, right?
Tight end. For tight end, I'm going to go with Ladarius Green for the Chargers.
Good pick.
Antonio Gates is out. Last week, Gates was out. dropped 18 points. He also dropped 18 points the first week.
Yep.
So he's just a solid number one tight end, but with Gates out, he's actually a number one tight end. And I think he'll put up over 15 because he's averaging 18 or 12 points, which is solid for a backup.
Yep.
For flex, I know most people now, after last week, have him as starter, but I know a lot of leagues only have 2 wide receivers and Jarvis Landry.
Yep.
I'm going to go with him. He's averaging 18 points with Dan Campbell. I was telling you the offensive resurgence. He had 2 20-point games since he's been the head coach. I just think he's a solid start at flex if you don't have him as your top 2 wide receivers.
Yeah, that's a really good pick. And then we come down to Mr. Nate at the end with kicker and defense.
Kicker, I got Steven Gostkowski from the Patriots. Boy's perfect on the season. 15 for 15 in field goals, 24 for 24 in extra points.
Yeah, he is.
Andrew's going crazy right now.
Oh,
pick,
yeah.
bud.
Kicked a career long of 57 this year, so, I mean, he still has the range.
He kicked one. I thought it was hilarious. I don't mean to cut you off, but he kicked one from 75 yards in practice 2 weeks ago. And they showed it.
Keyword, practice.
Pregame. I know it's practice, but
There
come
isn't
on,
11 guys running after you.
That's insane.
We ain't talking about the game.
About practice.
We're talking about practice. Then for my defense, I'm going to go with the St. Louis Rams.
Oh, they are the number one. Yeah.
They are the number one defense.
I got rid of them too.
They put up 25 fantasy points last week, facing the 49ers this week. Not really a big challenge. Rams should have no trouble with Colin Kaepernick and his less than stellar offense.
Who's your sleeper?
Not really. My sleeper pick isn't really a sleeper pick. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
You got some QBs on the bye week this week. You never know.
Definitely looks solid against the Pats. He's thrown for 2 touchdowns in 5 of 6 games this year.
Yep.
I don't know. Just seems like a solid pick.
All right, that's good. That's decent. All right, Brendan, you didn't give us our sleeper. Your sleeper. What do you got for this week for your sleeper?
McFadden, he had 24 points against
Nice
a
pick.
solid Giants defense.
Okay, good.
So,
pick.
and he's getting the start this week, so give him the nod.
Yeah. All right, so it's halfway through the year, basically, for football. So we're going to do our projection of award picks. We did them at the beginning of the year. So each of us got 2 picks to take and go over. Let's start off with Nate. Nate, who do we got for offensive and defensive player of the year? And then give us your Super Bowl pick.
Offensive player of the year. Unfortunately, I was going to go with Tom Brady.
Well,
but
He's MVP anyway.
usually offensive player of the year goes to the guy who is second in MVP. So I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers.
Good pick. All right. What do you got for Nate for your defensive player of the year?
Defensive player of the year. I went with DeMarcus Ware.
The veteran.
Oh. Mm-hmm. All right. Any reasoning?
No, not terribly.
He's the leader of that defense,
Yeah.
and he's the veteran presence.
I will say, I did have a friend of mine just text me about the whole DeMarcus Ware pick. Wanted to think about...
you can do it. Use your words.
I'm sorry, Cameron Wake.
Cameron Wake, Dolphins. Yeah.
Just brought up the whole Cameron Wake thing and wanted to see what we all thought of it.
I'll tell you what. If he has a great game tonight, then yeah, I would say he's in the running for that award.
And the Dolphins got Albert Hainsworth. I mean,
Yeah.
Ndamukong Suh, too, so you never know.
It'll be interesting. That's a good pick.
And
All
then
right.
and then the other name he brought up was Josh Norman.
He's a heck of a guy. I'll tell you. Who did he intercept the other day? Who did they play? Panthers played the Eagles. That's right.
Eagles.
He had an
Oh, right.
interception. I'm almost positive.
Who,
He
ha-
has 2
who hasn't
touchdowns,
picked
4
off?
interceptions.
Who hasn't picked off Sam
That's
Bradford?
true. I was just kidding.
As much as I like Sam Bradford,
Who has?
seriously.
All right, let's get moving on though. Nate, what do you got for a Super Bowl pick?
Packers Pats.
That's easy said than done.
Did
Good
everyone pick that?
Yes,
I didn't.
believe so.
I
you,
didn't.
You did?
Oh, okay.
You,
Brennan-
yeah, you did? Oh, no, you didn't. You
No,
did.
he
Oh, that's
didn't.
good.
Here's the
All
mic.
No, he-
right, Brendan.
All right.
Don't tell us your pick yet. Do your award picks and then do your Super Bowl.
Offensive Rookie of the Year? Well, I know you mentioned Gurley. I'm not going to go with Gurley because Amari Cooper,
Yep.
33 catches, 519 yards, 3 touchdowns in 6 games.
And he hasn't even been talked about.
Listen to this. Averaging almost 16 yards a catch.
It's insane.
What?
Everyone's talking about like the resurgence of the Raiders, and I'm just sitting here. They're talking about Derek Carr, and I'm just like, Amari Cooper. Like,
Yeah, look at him.
Look at the guy he's throwing to. I mean,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. All right, what do you got for defensive?
It's a toss-up between Leonard Williams of the Jets and Darby of the Bills.
Okay.
I know Peters of the Chiefs, he's him and Darby are back and forth as rookie cornerbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Usually their rookie cornerbacks get off to a very slow start. It takes
Time.
a while to transition into the
Get
NFL.
adjusted,
The time, yeah. So I'm gonna have to pick Darby only because he's top 5 in the NFL with 10 pass breakups.
Something like that, yeah. Okay, good pick.
special player. Are we waiting for a Super Bowl
Yeah,
pick?
let's hear it. Go ahead.
Right now,
Yeah,
okay. Well, everyone has Patriots.
yeah.
Sadly.
Seems like
On
you
the
got
NFC
another.
side, I'm gonna go Panthers.
Ooh.
Panthers.
A rematch from how long ago?
Oh God, that was 2000.
Adam
That was like
Vinatieri.
2000. Yeah.
2004.
Yeah.
I think it was
Oh,
I
4.
think
It
so.
was at St.
3 or
It was
4.
in St. Louis. I remember that.
Yeah, so it's 3 or 4.
I have them because I think it comes down to home field advantage. You're not going to lose at Lambeau Field. I don't think the Panthers are going to lose at home.
Yeah.
So I really think with their schedule, they play the NFC South, each team twice. There's 6 wins, and they're already 6-0. So I think they get to at least 12 games. I don't think the Packers can keep up with that. So I have Panthers beating the Patriots 27-24.
Oh, even a score. All right. David, what do you got?
All right. Well, for
MVP
MVP, I'm gonna stick with the Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna go with Cam Newton.
Ooh.
This guy,
I like that pick.
has put the team on his back, rushed for touchdowns, thrown for touchdowns, and with no wide receivers. He's out there with guys like Jericho Cotchery, the guy that's known for being on the Jets, 10 years ago? Unbelievable. He's got rookie Devin Funchess, and then Greg Olson's been his go-to guy.
Yeah.
Greg Olson's been there the entire season for him, making big plays. And then moving on, comeback player of the year. There are so many possible picks for this. My final two that I was between was Chris Johnson or Eric Berry, safety for the Kansas City Chiefs. You know Eric Berry's story coming back from Hodgkin's lymphoma. He has a pick this year. He actually got it last week against the Steelers. But I'm going to go with Chris Johnson. And there's 2 other Cardinals that are standing in his way of the award. Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald is 5th in receiving. Carson is 3rd in passing. But you got to look at CJ2K. He's 2nd in the NFL. This was a guy that they signed off the street in August. His life was going...
Train wreck,
Yeah, it was a train wreck. But he's rebounded. He's 2nd in the NFL in rushing. He's got 111 carries, 567 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5.1 yards a carry. And Arizona... Every year, we always say Arizona just needs that running back to establish a pass game and a run game. Arizona's 4th in rushing yards, 3rd with 4.8 yards a carry, and then their pass game is near the top as well, I believe, top 5. So you know what? CJ2K, Chris Johnson.
Okay.
Oh, and Super Bowl pick, obviously.
Patriots, Packers.
Patriots, Packers.
For my MVP, you know I got to go with my boy Tom Brady.
Of course you do.
I don't know
Really?
who else. The only other one I would go with.
Neat.
Okay. The only other one I would go with is Carson Palmer. I would actually put him on the list for MVP, believe it or not. But yeah, I got to go Tom Brady. He's on a revenge streak, and he's making it look easy.
When is he going to be off the revenge path? He's been on the revenge path since week 1.
Considering he said today, and I quote, "I'm playing better than I was 5 years ago." I don't think it's going to be happening for a while because he said earlier that he was going to play for the next 10 years. So it could be a while before he gets off that path.
Brett Favre. Jeez.
Yeah, no.
Oh
right?
my.
And my
Brett
coach of the
Favre.
year actually might surprise some people. I'm going Mike Zimmer.
Completely agree.
Do you really? Okay,
Completely agree.
Minnesota Vikings. I think he's turning that whole team around, and it's not really talked about that much. But I really give them a lot of credit. Right now, I just want to double check so I'm not wrong. Yeah, they're second in the
they're
NFC North, 4-2. Yeah, I mean,
Should be 5-1. They really should have
They
beat
should.
the Broncos.
and I give Teddy Bridgewater, a lot of credit for him too. And then they got AP, of course, which is
Another comeback player of the year possibility.
Yeah, I know. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And then my Super Bowl, Patriots, Packers. I got to call Patriots winning that one. So that's a good one. All right.
Bets with Brendan.
Time for bets with Brendan. Let's get the college football thing going. Let's hear it.
All right. Well, my record since making picks 11-5.
Oh, good. Okay, you did that. Nice.
Safest bet of the week: Oregon's dogs by 3 to Arizona State tonight. Oregon gets their QB Vernon back. Oregon wins this one 37-30. So second pick, Illinois against Penn State. Penn State's favored by 4.5. Penn State only lost 2 games this year, both against undefeated teams. Penn State wins 34-24.
All right.
For my third
Tulane.
game, I have Tulane against Memphis. Memphis is hot. They're a top 20 team, but a 30.5 favorite. Tulane loses this one 47-17, but actually covers.
Interesting.
Tulane, home of the great J.P. Lossman.
Yep. Fourth game, TCU, West Virginia. TCU, high-powered offense. West Virginia has a high-powered offense also, but TCU's defense is very sluggish at times. 44-38 TCU. Fifth pick, ECU against UConn.
UConn.
ECU's favored by 7. Simply put, ECU wins 28-17.
All right, now what's your game of the week?
Pick of the week. I'm 3-0 on my picks of the week.
That's
Looking
what I was
to be
talking about.
4-0.
Okay.
I said before, first time College game day is visiting Temple. Sold out crowd of 80,000 people at the Eagles Stadium. Temple is dogs by 10. Line is moving in Temple's favor, but 10 is actually a safe bet. I tell you this because Notre Dame is an all-time 15-0 on Halloween. You may think I'm crazy.
Wow. Brennan's going in depth right
Wow.
Coach Matt Rule for the
much
Owls is a
research did
perfect
you do?
4-0 in facing a team for the second time. The first game of Coach Rule's tenure was a loss in Notre Dame, 28-6.
Okay.
28-6. Notre Dame was favored by 30 that game. So Temple covered. Temple has a top 8 defense in all of college football, but a 92nd ranked best offense. The only way Notre Dame covers this game is if they get off to a hot start. Temple is more of a second half team, outscoring opponents an absurd 137-29. Bold prediction.
Score?
Temple Owls 31-27.
Oh.
Wow. Next week we got to cover more Division III sports like we did last week.
Buff State football, baby.
Good picks. Thank you, Brendan. I appreciate it. Betting with Brendan. All right, now, Nate. Let's give me hockey with Nate. Quick shoot.
Fantastic. We're going to jump right into a little bit of Niagara University Purple Eagle hockey.
Oh.
NU faced off against Robert Morris at home this weekend. Game 1 took it all the way to overtime, 65 minutes, tied 3-3. Purple Eagles goals came from junior TJ Sarcona, sophomore Albin Carlson, and senior Dan Kalenda. Game 2, Purple Eagles were unfortunately dominated by RMU by a score of 8-2. Rolled over just a tad bit. Freshman Sam Reneker getting his first goal and his first point as a Purple Eagle.
That's cool.
Setting the only other goal in that game, sophomore Darren Plouffe. Eagles return to action tomorrow at home against Cornell. Over to the NHL. NHL rookies are starting to make a name for themselves, most notably Connor McDavid and Jack Eichel.
Yeah. It was his birthday the other day, I believe.
Yes, yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, yeah.
Connor McDavid, will start with him after somewhat of a slow start. Definitely made his presence felt. 10 points in 10 games, 5 goals, and 5 assists.
Nice.
Definitely owning the hype of being the number 1 draft pick.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Jack Eichel, we'll go over Jack Eichel real quick, has not been as successful as McDavid through these last 9 games for the Sabres. Only 3 goals, and I say only. Let's forget that he is only now 19.
True.
Although he does have a -6 rating. Averages 19 to 20 minutes played per game, which are superstar, carry the team on your back kind of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Again, look for both of them to be in the spotlight for the remainder of the year as well as their career.
Yeah, good pick. But all right, David, you got 1 minute. Give me baseball. 1 minute. Let's hear it.
All right, here's the baseball minute from your boy, David Yarger. Managerial moves. We're going to start off in the front office. We've got Andy Green, the Arizona third base coach, heading over to the Padres, replacing Bud Black, who was fired Padres manager. He goes to the Nationals. Don Mattingly, the biggest move of the day, resigned from the Dodgers job with a couple years left on his deal, goes to the Marlins to fix a 71-91 team.
Yep.
And then big news out of Toronto coming from the 6, Alex Anthopoulos out in Toronto, possibly AL exec of the year. In my book, he is. I wonder if he's mad about Mark Shapiro coming over from Cleveland to be the president. We'll figure out. KC is up 2-0 in the World Series over the Mets right now. They just look like the more dominant team. I think this series is over. My MVP pick, Eric Hosmer, 4 RBIs through 2 games. When you need something clutch, your boy Haas is always there. And I'm also ending my segment, sending my best to Edison Volquez. Can't imagine what he's going through, and it's going to be a very emotional return for him if he pitches again in this World Series.
That's a great thing to say. Thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate Baseball Minute with David. That about wraps us up for today, guys. This is our the official sports radio show for WNAA with Brendan, who just left. We got Nate Kinzer, my buddy David Yarger at my side, and yours truly, Andrew Emmons. You've been listening to WNA's official sports radio show, The Toss Up. Hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you next week.
Have a good one.